Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to our channel. As always, it's me, Ivan, and in today's video we are taking a look at a very interesting and very fun watch. This is a special edition from Sea-Gull with a vintage-inspired design and a dial that puts a smile on my face every time I look at it. Yep, that's the gluttonous snake right there, which is a fun little throwback to the old snake game from the Nokia days. Before we get into the details, just a quick heads up. This watch was sent to me for review by Sea-Gull and I don't have to send it back. That said, everything you're about to hear is my honest, unbiased opinion, just like always. Now, if you end up liking what you see and want to check it out for yourself, you can visit their official websites, seagullwatch.com if you are in mainland China, or seagullwatchofficial.com for international orders. Alright, let's go over the dimensions now. What you're looking at is one very compact and very wearable piece. The case diameter comes in at 36mm, but the square shape gives it a decent amount of wrist presence, as you'll see in a moment. The lug-to-lug is about 40mm, but because of the fixed end links on the bracelet, the effective length jumps up to around 48, which is a bit of a shame. Then the thickness is 12mm and the total weight, sized for my 17cm or 6.7-inch wrist, is just 95 grams. Guys, comfort-wise, this Sea-Gull is excellent, largely thanks to the thin and flexible bracelet that keeps the whole thing sitting nicely on the wrist. Speaking of the bracelet, apart from Milanese style ones, this is probably the thinnest I've ever seen on a watch. It has excellent articulation, all the links are solid, and the finishing is surprisingly good. As for the clasp, I do wish it was milled, but to be fair, it gets the job done. It fits in nicely with the overall vintage design of the watch, and it comes with 4 micro-adjustment points. Now combine that with the short length of the links, and getting a perfect fit is no problem at all. The only potential downside here is that, due to the integrated design, swapping it out for a strap isn't really an option, unless you go the custom route, of course. Alright, let's talk about the design, build quality, and finishing. Design-wise, this Sea-Gull is heavily inspired by the TV case watches that were all the rage back in the 70s. In fact, one model it closely resembles is the Omega Seamaster Day-Date with a reference 1166. Everything from the squarish case shape to the bracelet and dial layout has a very similar vibe, and honestly, I'm totally fine with that. I mean, it's a great vintage design that works really well with the quirky dial, especially when you consider that the original Gluttonous Snake game first appeared in 1976. The whole thing feels thematically on point. Guys, while the design is vintage, the build quality definitely leans more modern. You get a solid stainless steel case and bracelet, and the crystal is sapphire, which is always great to see, and it's also very clear, which really helps the dial pop. The crown is assigned push-pull type, and while it's not screw down, it feels sturdy and well made. Then around the back there is a press-on exhibition case back that gives you a nice little peek at the movement. Now, as you've probably guessed, water resistance is just 50 meters, but that's totally fine with me, as this isn't the kind of watch I would take swimming anyway. As for the finishing, it's pretty solid across the board. The polishing on the bezel in particular stands out. It's very well executed and has a true mirror-like quality to it. And now it's time to talk about the star of the show, which is of course the dial. Personally, I think the gluttonous snake theme is extremely cool. One of the reasons I like it so much is because it brings back a lot of teenage memories. My first mobile phone was a Nokia 8210, and Snake was one of the games it came with. If you look closely, you'll notice that the dial actually resembles the display those phones had, and Sea-Gull has even tried to recreate that pixelated look, And honestly, they've nailed it. The execution is top-notch, and the result is a dial that feels both original and refreshingly different. And yeah, I'll say it again, I think it's super cool. One more thing worth mentioning here is that unlike the TV test card version of this watch, this one does come with a chapter ring, which helps a lot with overall legibility. Last but not least, here's what the dial looks like in the dark. As you can see, there isn't a whole lot going on. You do get a bit of lume on the hour and minute hands, but nothing to write home about. Next, we've got to talk about the movement, because this is another real highlight. Inside you'll find Sea-Gull's in-house caliber ST2100, which is essentially a clone of the ETA 2824, and as such it offers very similar performance. It's got 28 joules, around 40 hours of power reserve, and while I couldn't find any official accuracy specs, mine is running just 6 seconds fast per day, which is excellent in my book. You can check it out through the Mineral Crystal exhibition caseback, and there is actually a bit of decoration going on too, so it looks better than most base grade ETA 2824s or Sellita SW200s I've seen. One last thing I want to mention, something I personally find really cool, is how the date changes. It happens instantly, guys, in the blink of an eye. Most people might not care, but I've always found it kind of annoying when some day-date watches take hours to fully transition. With that being said, it's time for my final thoughts, and what can I say except that this quirky little Sea-Gull really took me by surprise. It's got a solid build, great finishing, and a bold design that blends vintage charm with a big dose of personality. The gluttonous snake dial won't be for everyone, but for those of us who grew up playing Snake on a Nokia, it hits all the right nostalgic notes. And the fact that they managed to capture that pixelated look so well is just awesome. On top of that, the in-house ST2100 movement performs beautifully and gives you that satisfying instant date change, which is a small detail, but one I genuinely appreciate. Sure, the integrated bracelet limits strap options and the lume isn't anything to write home about, but when you look at the full package, solid specs, fun execution, and a healthy dose of retro character, it's a super enjoyable piece that stands out in all the right ways. The only real downside for many will be the price. At $459 US, this watch goes up against some pretty tough competition, especially from micro brands. So, if the gluttonous snake dial doesn't speak to you, you'll probably find it hard to justify the asking price. That said, Sea-Gull does run sales from time to time, so if you're interested in picking one up, make sure you check their website every once in a while. Alright everyone, that's it from me. Now I would love to hear what you think. Do you like this quirky take on a vintage design? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe for more watch content just like this. Take care guys, I'll see you in the next one.